clogged nozzles create unfavorable results in image production.
Start by planning your visit and call your local Mamaki Demo Center. Before coming into the building, please put on your mask. Extra points if you printed your own mask. If you do not have one, we can provide you one. Sanitation stations are available at every entrance. A Mamaki representative will take your temperature before you enter the building. Please keep a distance of at least 6 feet between people during your visit. Now, let's get to printing. Thank you for visiting Mamaki. We hope to see
you. Okay, I think we're live.
I think so.
Let's do this. Thank everyone for joining us today. This is Mamaki Live. This is episode 2. For anyone who is joining us again after our first episode, thanks for joining us again.
Absolutely.
For anyone joining us for the first time, welcome. Thanks for giving us a shot. I hope this is entertaining, informative, and I hope you join us again for future episodes. Last episode, we all talked about Mamaki getting back to business. I think episode 2, we're going to shift to focus on one of the core markets Mamaki focuses on. So we wanted to talk about textiles.
Absolutely.
All right. Make sure to go to our website, follow us on all social media for any information that you see on this live. For more information about all the stuff we talked about on the last live, all that information is on the website as well. And make sure to follow us for more information about live events, scheduling for more webinars, instructional videos, how-to tutorials. All the information is online. In addition to promotions that we're going to be having, including one of the promotions that we have for viewers of this live today. That promotion is going to be at the end, so stay tuned at the end for that. But before we get started, I really want to give some of the newer viewers a quick overview of Xen Industries, what we do here. We are a 45-year-old company founded in Japan. We serve over 150 countries around the world. The U.S. has offices in Dallas, Milwaukee. We're in the Atlanta office right now. We have Jersey, Boston, all over the country. We have offices in Canada, South America, Wakanda, Australia, Asgard, all of those. We're a focus-driven company. We try and boost our customers' business through innovations in print cut technologies and different print technologies through 3 markets: industrial products, textile, sign and graphics. The last episode was a little heavy on the sign and graphics, so it'll be good to focus on one of the other branches. Basically, we have 96% in-house development with our machines, consumables, our inks. So from start to finish, whatever print product you're trying to work on, we can help you. I am Lewis Jones. I am a application specialist in the Atlanta region. I'm joined with Mike Maxwell.
Yep. Hi, I'm Michael Maxwell. I'm the senior manager for our corporate strategic development group here.
All right.
Got my wonderful co-host here, Lewis, again. We're really excited about the opportunity to talk to you about I think the conversation still kind of carries on a bit for the back to business, but really kind of a hone in on that textile piece for us. So we're really excited about to bringing that in. And we've got a couple really good guests today. We've invited Craig Campbell from ISA to join us to talk to us a little bit about what they're seeing in the industry, some of the trends on textile specifically, and then some of the other things that they're seeing in terms of business from a garment decoration standpoint, which is a really big topic recently. We've invited our friends from Siser, North America. We've got Joe Piazza on. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the lucrative area of garment decoration and a couple of the different products that they have that works very fluidly with our products. And then we've got our resident textile expert, Victoria Harris, who will be going out in the field and talking to one of our customers, Zen Industries, about the different products that they're producing on the Mamaki technology for textiles. So a pretty good lineup today. Really excited to have everybody here.
Right.
Happy to be a part of this.
And at the end of all of that, we're going to have a Q&A section like we did last episode. Everyone who joined us on the live will be on that Q&A section. So any questions you have throughout the show, write them down in the chat, save them for the end, and we will try and get to all of them best way we can.
Absolutely. So
right.
This is a live environment, so let's get going.
All right. You said we're going to be focusing on textiles right now. That includes dye sublimation. That includes working with our textile line. For the new businesses starting out right now, how do you think those people would benefit from working with our technologies? And that's for like small businesses, not just like the big companies. We're accessible to a lot of different markets, not just big industries.
Yeah, the textile lineup that Mamaki has is one of the broadest in the industry and one of the easiest to utilize. So we have a large portfolio of products from entry-level price points and productivity all the way up to high productivity, fast throughput. Anything from our TS30, which is going to be more of a dye sub entry level, to our Tiger product, which is a high production unit. The interesting thing about Mamaki is that we try to cross-utilize the platform as much as we can. So some of our products will be able to use dye sublimation inks, like you mentioned,
right.
But we do make a wide range of inks for textiles. So we make inks that are good for synthetics, good for natural fibers, lycras, polyesters, cottons, wools, silk.
Right.
We've got a broad range of inks and so for anyone that's looking to get into textile production or anyone that's interested in it, you can start with a small product, and then as you build out your business, you can scale up, and it's pretty intuitive because the control panels, everything, whether you're at the the small end of the spectrum or the large end of the spectrum, the interface is very similar. The way that you're going to load the machines are very similar. So we do a really good job of making that workflow very consistent, whether you're a startup or a seasoned veteran in the textile world.
I do feel like I was definitely on the entry level, bare bones, not knowing a lot about like eco-solvent inks, not knowing how to like work with textiles. I feel like the learning curve was like accessible for someone like me, a little bit graphic design, understanding with print machines, large format print machines, which we focus on. But for like small Etsy shops starting out, I know we focused last episode on the sign and graphics that you'll see in a lot of stores, floor graphics. We've seen a big spike in those, wall graphics, more informational around businesses. But for small Etsy shops trying to like start out, our raster link and our fine cut, our like software is helpful for them to like really speed their process along, keeping all of their production in-house instead of outsourcing a lot of jobs like masks, t-shirts, flags, scarves, just keeping a lot of those things that they would normally have to buy from someone else online. Small Etsy shops can really like use our technologies to keep everything in-house, right?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it earlier. I mean, we're 96% in-house manufacturing, so we develop the inks, the hardware, the software are all parallel to each other, and the benefit of that is that we have the ability to make adjustments based on market demands as quickly as needed. Right. But we also are able to make sure that the workflow and the usability of the equipment is as easy as possible. So in other areas of the market, you would get the printer here and the software from somebody else, and then you have to try and get those to work together. and then you might get an ink from another company, and you're trying to make all three of these different approaches unify. From us, we do it all at the factory. We manufacture everything to work together. So whether you're getting into different types of fabrics like I've got here, whether you're getting to a like an upholstered good, your workflow is as easy as possible. Like you mentioned, Rasterlink. We do have other softwares that are more textile focused, like TX Link. So if I'm jumping from an upholstery good to like a scarf material here,
which is made for bleed, for like that's a different ink set altogether, and a different machine set. But you can target what you're working towards for our printer specifically. I know we have a system on our website where you can pick and choose what application you're trying to make at your office, and you can choose the printer that is specifically designed for the thing that you're doing. But once you have that printer, you can then scale that, find the other things that you can do with that printer, because most of them are, not all of them, but most of our printers are 2-in-1. You know, we have, those remain on the CJV, but we have like the CJV that has some textile capabilities, but it also is a cut machine. When you don't need that, you can have our CG, which is one of our roll cutters that has worked with easier working with one of our later on guests, Siser.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, regardless of where you want to jump into the portfolio, we have a solution that will fit your needs. So the interesting thing about it, you mentioned like the print and cut. If you want to start a small Etsy store and you want to run it out of let's say you want to run it out of your garage or a spare bedroom, or you have an office space, you can get like the CJV 150 series, the Dash 75, which is our most narrow width machine. And you can start producing anything from mouse pads to scarves or whatever in the dye sub world. And if you have to do cut pieces, that machine also does print and cut. So you can do your cutouts, like if you're doing a print and sew operation for sportswear and apparel, you can start with that. And we do have partners in the industry that provide some of the files that you would need in order to lay these things out if you were to do a print, cut, and sew. If you need a pattern, for example, for a small child, or if you need a pattern for an adult, you can pick those up. You can lay your artwork in there. And with the software that comes with the printer, you can very quickly load this up, and within a matter of minutes, you're printing. So that's one of the best things about our product line is as soon as you have the printer, to your point, that's installed and it's up and running, you can be printing and producing and selling over the internet immediately. Yes. There's a very small window of time, and because everything comes with the product, right? We ship the software with it. We give you everything that you need to get going. You can be productive and profitable first day.
And I love the different effects that you can get with our software. I personally love like the step and repeat that you can get in fine cutting, playing around like small information of the small amount of like design elements that you can get and expand on that once you load that into our software. All of it is made for print. It really makes designers' lives a lot easier.
I'm glad you brought that up, because the design piece is usually one of the things that people get a little bit concerned about when they're looking at this. I'm not a designer. I know you are. But when you're looking at design and you're looking at how this is, most of the patterns here are going to be repeat patterns. So if you can master the steps that it would take to create a square block of pattern that's going to be able to be step and repeated, like you mentioned before, you can scale that image however you want in the software, and you can produce this in a very short amount of time with a lot of ease, because the software has everything you need in it. So from a design perspective, it really makes everything easy. The design portion, you can spend a little bit more time worrying about that and making sure everything's exactly the way you want it. And the software on our side, you just plug it in and hit go.
Well, that frees someone like me up to focus more on color with the wide variety of colors and profiles that I would be using with our textile printers, trying to match. Usually we'll get like some information from someone saying, I really like the color in our logo. I really want this scarf or our t-shirts to match that color. Not having to worry about the step and repeat or worrying about layering things up on the printer or aligning things to make sure that it comes out perfectly. When I'm not focusing on that, I can really focus on the color. So
absolutely,
that is another time saver that it gives me.
Yeah, the software, it allows you to interact with all the industry standard color management tools. So if you need to adjust your red to be a specific logo red, like our Mamaki red, for example, you can make those adjustments through custom development of your own profiles for that material, or you can go into the software and have it read and give you a basic calculation and give you a ballpark of where the software thinks that the printer is going to land once you've created that object. So we try to make it as easy as possible and as streamlined as possible. So I know we've spoken a little bit heavy on the software side. Rasterlink is the software that comes with it. TX-Link is also a software that we have specific to textiles. I encourage you to go to the website and check those out. We have a lot of great resources about that, good videos, some explanations. And then to your point earlier, if you're looking for something very specific, you can use our selector tool on our website, and it will narrow it down. Because once you go to our website, you'll notice we have a large range of products for print and cut. So you can get lost pretty quickly in that sea of different options. But if you use the selector and you say, what do you want to do? Right. You can narrow that field down really quickly, and it'll give you a couple of really good suggestions of what to do. And then you can call our sales office, and they'll walk you through the rest of it, and we can set up a demo, and we can take that next step and make sure that it's exactly what you're looking for. And if it's not, we got something else we can offer you.
And just because something is one of the printers tailored to one market like textiles, it doesn't mean that it can't work with some of the other printers. Making different applications with different machines, like the ties that I have on right now. This is a Mamaki tie.
A couple extras here.
Made on one of our textile machines, but the tie clip made on the UJF is one of our industrial product machines. So
absolutely,
mix and matching different technologies gives you different variety of applications that you can make. All that information is online. In the application that we've made, we try and give you that information, make it as easy as possible for you to recreate or expand on the stuff that we've done.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking in like, whether you're looking at fashion or you're looking at home furnishing or you're looking in any of the realms that textile plays a large role in, you're right. There are other products that we make that really go into that same space. And are very complementary to it. So you brought up the tie clips that we have on here. These were produced on our UJF series. They are produced on a UV flatbed. They're able to be utilized in a fashion sense. We have a large range of like clutches and handbags and other things that you can produce with the equipment. So you don't have to necessarily look at the textile machines to get into a textile parallel printing environment. You can start doing it with something you might already have. But if you want to get into textile, we'll make it easy. The benefit of the architecture is you can choose with some of the materials, and we'll get into that in a little bit with our friends at Siser, but you can choose to use a technology that's primarily for one other area of our market, like sign and graphics, for example, and still do some garment decoration or decoration on fabric, even with those inks that are primarily used for things like vehicle wraps and things like that. So a lot of different options out there. It's real easy to get lost in it. The selector tool helps, but at the end of the day, you can pretty much do anything you want with digital when it comes to printing, as long as the ink's compatible with the material that you're going to be printing too.
Yeah, no one wants to be limited to one thing. One of the biggest selling points when buying a machine is, hey, this is what you're looking for. Here's all the other stuff that you can do. Save money. You might not have thought about this, but expand your business. That is not just helpful for small shops, larger industries, smaller industries. It doesn't matter. The versatility is really a key point in growing any business that we love to help out with.
Yeah, and I'll add the digital piece of it is probably the best piece of it, right? So historically, to produce, upholstered goods or things like this, you would need to agree on a color, you need to agree on a pattern, a material, and then you would have to run a significant amount of this in order to cost justify it. And then that gets converted down and sold out to wherever you're going to sell it, whether you're selling it in a retail location, online, whatever. The problem with that is it's fairly wasteful because you have to produce so much in order to make it cost justifiable. And you end up with a lot of material that doesn't get used or consumed, or maybe the pattern's not something that the market's looking for, and you end up wasting all that. With digital, you can do short run work. or you can do long run work. So you can do it on demand based on what the customer need is. So if I'm a printer and I get a contract for a hotel chain, for example, and I'm going to do all their upholstered goods or their drapery or any of the furnishings, I can make just what I need for that particular hotel. And then I can make just what I need the next time they build the hotel. So I don't have to worry about waste. I can do it on the fly. So if a customer comes back and says, I accidentally ruined this, can you produce another one? Right. I can produce it digitally very quickly, and I can hand it back to them ready to go. So the run times are a lot more efficient. The fact that you're making it on demand and based on what the needs are, it allows you as a print shop to be very fluid and really minimize your overhead. Right. So speaking of overhead, we've talked a little bit about different printing technology that we serve, but we've got our partner here, Craig Campbell from ISA, and we're going to bring him on in just a second to talk about the different things that they're seeing in the market. And one of the things that we've seen over the past few months is the kind of the resurgence of the entrepreneurial spirit, if you will. Right. A lot of people are starting to sell things online. They're picking up these types of printers. And we'd like to talk to him a little bit about what they're seeing and what the market looks like. So I'd like to invite Craig Campbell on from ISA to talk a little bit about the industry as it stands and what they're seeing on textiles. Craig, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Hello. Hey, Mike. Hey,
hey.
How are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. So before I think we get into the questions that we probably want to ask Greg, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do for ISA?
Sure. I've been in the industry longer than I care to admit now. Started off in a small sign company myself, and then with some commercial sign company out of the South, and then with a large manufacturer before, media manufacturer before coming on board with ISA. But now with ISA, Director of Strategic Initiatives, really primarily looking at ways to increase the ability for the association to serve our members. I mean, that's really kind of driving different revenue sources and that type of thing, but looking ways that ultimately we can serve our members. That's kind of my primary goal.
Excellent. And we've seen a lot of uptick in the signage market. We talked about this in our last episode. We talked a lot about wall graphics and floor graphics and everything else. And we know that the sign market also utilizes other technologies, what we're talking about today. But what have you guys seen in your area as one of the growth areas in the signage market or in printing in general?
Yeah, so certainly on the textile front, we were seeing a tremendous amount of growth there. I think you mentioned wraps earlier. We're seeing a fair amount of those. And by the way, on the textile, you notice the background, the spirit of this, spirit of your theme here. I may or may not have stolen this from our last expo in Vegas. So that's what you see behind me here. Had to decorate the walls a little bit for you, but. So yeah, we're definitely seeing that uptick. You know, a lot of times when we talk to our exhibitors and our members, whether they're distributors or manufacturers, there's a lot more conversation around soft signage now than there was, call it 4 or 5 years ago. I think everybody really saw that piece coming, on the horizon, but just to get here as quickly, I think it has in the last, call it, 18 months to 2 years. So. It's really exciting, especially in this time that we're in, right? People need that versatility. They need the ability to be able to, get graphics and get signage out there to let people know that they're open, let people know that they're available, whatever that messaging may be. But now with everybody being as cost efficient as they can be, shipping the stuff across the country is not nearly as expensive, so it's it has a lot of benefits. So yeah, we're definitely seeing on the uptick for sure. Yeah,
with the fabric thing on the soft signage side, we've also seen a large growth in that area, and I think part of it, to your point, is the ease of shipping things. From our end, it's easy to take something like this, fold it up and stick it sometimes in an envelope and send it on its way. And if you're talking about soft signage specifically, there's a large increase in these cabinets that have small LEDs in them now. They're power friendly. They're very easy to mount up on the wall, and a business owner can easily install these fabric printed graphics now without having to call and ask for someone to come out and get a ladder and everything else. So you can switch sales signage before you open your store in the morning, and you can put, the "we're open." And I would fair to say that in a lot of cases, the backlit portion of this, of course, this is not a backlit material that I've got here, but the backlit portion of it on fabric is a little bit more warm because the fabric kind of displays that light a little bit differently than a plastic would, like a PVC or a film that you would traditionally see on the sign and graphics side. So it's interesting that you guys are seeing the same thing on your end. If someone
place for any shop owner right now, no matter what part of the business you're in, to go see all the resources that are there, from what's going on state by state, PPP loans, other types of funding, and then on the training side too, that the variety of sources there. We're super, we're really excited to be able to jump ahead of the curve, if you will, whenever this pandemic hit, to get the whole industry deemed as critical infrastructure. I mean, it took a lot of background work by our advocacy team, and we really got a chance to show the stuff, all the things that we provide to the industry. But there's a variety of trainings. Anybody looking to get into the industry that if it's sales and marketing training, or intro into wide format printing, you name it, we've got a lot of resources on there that people can take advantage of.
Excellent. And we've got a significant amount of resources as well. You've been busy on your side.
Yeah, we've seen a uptick in, once trade shows weren't a thing that we could constantly be going to. That was like our main reason for like speaking one-on-one with people. We kind of saw a change in the market, so we shifted towards more webinars, more instructional videos, more over the internet instructional guides for people to have in the comfort of their own homes. Have you seen it uptick in that yourself? Are you making more online content? Are you shifting towards more telecommunications with people?
So the answer is yes to all, right? I mean, we're doing all those things, and we're really excited about the feedback we've gotten, with the webinars, with the online training, that type of thing, because there's a big thirst for understanding what the next move is in the industry, right? So we're trying to update the industry as much as possible, no matter what part of the industry they focus on. Try to bring things like our sector secrets, really kind of deep dives into the restaurant, the retail, and the hotel and lodging sectors, so people can understand what those sectors are going through, so they can know how to react to conversations really with their counterparts in those industries, so they can understand that what they're going through, and they can work together to provide solutions to make us all really get back on our feet and keep growing. But from an event standpoint, we're really looking forward to 2021. Our theme this year is forward, although we do have to react to what's going on right now, what's going on in the present. We got to be looking forward. We got to be looking out there to see what's going to happen next, and be prepared for it. And that's obviously it's hard, but we're excited about getting everybody back together. Safety is key to that process. We want to make sure that we're doing everything as safely as possible. And providing that clear communication to attendees who are looking to be with us it is going to be a safe place to convene. So we're working with all the local government, CDC, you name it, to make that happen. But I mean, just what you're doing here, the virtual piece it's not going away. We just launched a new, we call it the Link. So it's going to be a platform for all of our virtual events going forward, starting in September and going through the end of the year. We're going to have several different pieces moving forward. So we're really excited. Our goal is to connect the industry, and that's what we're going to continue to do, provide those experiences, provide resources for people to get together and learn and thrive in their business. That's our primary goal right now.
So the Vegas show would be the next one we have to look forward to in person, the 2021 one?
2021, that's going to be in April, so early part of April. Really excited about it. And it's, I mean, we have to look forward to that because we want to. I mean, like just you said, that in person, nothing replaces that in person experience, and like I said, we're looking forward to having it.
Yeah, we talked about in our last episode the fact that this is a very tactile selling environment, especially if you're getting into textile. You want to come in and see the printer actually produce on the fabric you want to work with and make sure that it's going to, give you the color that you're looking for, give you the return on that vibrancy, everything else. And we have to be safe. Obviously, we've got a shield between us right now. We're also in this virtual world, but we're also trying to be safe. We talked about safety signage a bit in our last episode, right? And we've seen a real big uptick in that. And I want to touch on that for a second, because I think that in our past conversations, you've mentioned how integrated the ISA is with the different, government agencies. And you mentioned a few like CDC and all that. You guys are really involved with making sure that everyone understands what the rules of engagement are. And if something is not correct, you guys are also on the forefront of trying to correct that on behalf of the printers and the sign industry. I'm assuming that's continuing from your end.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, anywhere from advocating locally on a local community level to lobbying on a Capitol Hill. I mean that's our advocacy team's daily grind. I mean they're trying to make sure that we keep that critical infrastructure tag in place. We don't see that going away anytime soon. We feel like it's kind of set the bar for any other future incidents like the one we're going through. So we feel like that's huge. Working with our members to identify what is the right way to put up those signs and decals and placards or what have you. Give an input there. What makes the most sense? That's a big part of what we're doing as well. But yeah, I mean, we were super impressed just to see the industry itself just come together, providing, you see anywhere from manufacturers, like I'm sure you've done, and distributors, everybody, plug and play templates that sign companies, print shops can go out there and turn out these safety decals and notifications for whether they're restaurants or schools or whatever they may be to make sure those things get put in place, and they do so effectively. So it's there's a lot of moving parts to it, but again, we're super excited to be involved with it and trying to help the industry just continue to thrive. That's what we're seeing.
And we're certainly familiar with safety signage, right?
Yeah, we've seen a big increase in like floorgraphs throughout different businesses, but here in our Atlanta office, I know we've had to flood this office with a lot of informational signage. Stop at this store. This is the place to do screenings, mass in this area, floor graph, directional information. But we talked earlier about Etsy shops and new businesses being opened up. For those people, because of this change that we've seen happen, we've seen a lot of people being furloughed. We've seen a lot of people looking for different jobs. We've seen people starting new businesses. With that, we've seen a lot of people flocking towards garment decorations. Every site I think anyone's bought any clothes from before have seen like an increase of like mass sales. What does the future of garment decoration look like for people just getting into this market?
Yeah, well, I think it's bright. For one, as an association, we feel like that's true. But, we really look at what happened back in 07, 08, 09, kind of the crash, if you will, that financial crisis. And the result of that was so many businesses going out of business, but how many more grew? People were looking for work, and instead of trying to find employment, they decided to do their own thing. And I think that's going to be the same situation, but on steroids, to be quite honest. We're going to see a lot of just a proliferation of new businesses. We really feel like our industry, especially if you look in that, the people who have Etsy shops and the people who have done, call it crafting and those types of things, they're primed. They're ready to move in to this industry with a bigger scale, right? And garment decoration is a great way to do that. We think about, and I think we've talked about this on a couple other conversations too, is where, now when you start going to any kind of event outside or inside or wherever it may be, you're going to see a lot more decoration on the back of shirts and a lot more notoriety, like, hey, here, the cleaning crews are out or the security crews are out or whatever it may be, to give people that sense of, understanding that, it's a safe place to be. They're good, they're constantly cleaning, high touch points and those types of things. But then to your point, talking about masks, people who are shifting from maybe doing decals and stuff like that for their local schools, they're able now to pivot to do things like, custom mask creation or, bandanas or whatever they may be. But, then on top of that, just, any type of thing that they can get their hands on that can be customizable right now. That's where we see so much of that happening on the back end. And, all those companies or those small kind of entrepreneurs, they're going to grow. They're going to grow into being a major part of our industry and vertical markets next to us. So I think it's a future bright for them all.
Yeah, and a lot of people, when they hear garment decoration, typically think T-shirts or wearables, but there's a whole segment of different things like tote bags or
absolutely
backpacks. Off the top of my head,
other
flags, pop-up banners. We're open for business that fit into that realm. That you're right. A large. So I've been watching this as well. Yeah, and we've got some analytics that we've pulled down, and you're right. We're seeing the same thing. Etsy in particular, we'll pick on them today. They've seen about a 27% increase in growth in stores that have popped up since the beginning of the calendar year, and I think they've done about 3.2 to 3.5 billion in revenue through those stores just in the first quarter of this calendar year. So we're seeing that as well. We're getting a large increase in demand for our TS30, for example, for mass production. We're also getting a large increase in demand for our CJV line for print and cut workflows. We're doing stickers, decals for all the safety signage, but you can also do some garment decoration with that, the bags or the T-shirts and everything else. So it's good that you're seeing the same thing, because sometimes we live in a little bit of a vacuum in the research that we do. So it's great to be able to share that with our audience today. And before we kind of continue the conversation, I want to remind everybody that Craig will be joining us for a Q&A at the end of this. If you have any questions for him or for us, please feel free to put your questions in the chat window. We're going to try and get to those. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and thanks for participating today.
And Craig, before we switch over to the next segment, is there anything that you'd like to plug, any information you'd like to give us about what ISA is up to?
Well, first I want to go back. I wish I would have bought some Etsy stock a little while ago. First of all, I think they're up about 40% on the stock market right now, so that'd be nice to have. But no, I appreciate it. We're really invested heavily in the education part of what we do. Our online learning platform it's open 24/7. We've got a digital badge program that whether you're on the manufacturing side or the owner side, you can go in there and use it to educate yourself, educate your employees. You can earn these digital badges by taking some of the assessments, hang those on your digital profile or on your resume, your digital resume, your LinkedIn profile, whatever it may be, and use those as resources. And the more and more, we've had a huge increase on those programs just in the last, obviously in the last year, but more specifically in the last few months, and it really hasn't fallen off. We're seeing that education continue, so we're really proud of that. Really proud of that platform. We feel like it serves the industry really well. And just look for future events. That's coming down the pipe, whether it's virtual events or in person. We want to connect people. That's what we're going to continue to do. But go to signs.org. That's the best way to find out pretty much every information that we have that we're serving the industry with. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for allowing me to plug a little bit there.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem. I do have one additional point that it just occurred to me. So when we were talking about wraps earlier, you mentioned wraps. just like the garment decoration, people tend to think of vehicle wraps as the only thing that wraps really are. But we're seeing a lot of increase for what would we as technical people in the printing industry would call wall coverings, but we're seeing a lot of people use the word wrap for that now. And we also have products like our 3D GD, which produce three-dimensional objects that can also be wrapped. So I'm assuming they have resources that help people navigate the different terms that people are using kind of interchangeably throughout the different the different pieces of what we do. Yeah, no, absolutely. We we partnered with I'm not sure but we partnered with the Wrap Institute, and they are kind of the market leader, if you will, on video tutorials and for how to wrap anything. So we feel like that's a way that we're going to propel forward, and that's one of the virtual events we're going to be doing later in the fall, a virtual wrap experience. But talking about wraps in general, we're pre-COVID. There was a lot of growth area going through 2023, looking at somewhere around 7% annual growth year over year. So that's a little bit better clip than our industry does in general. So that's super promising. And people are still looking for those ways to get in front of the consumer and using wraps to do that. And we don't. You can't just relegate them to vehicles anymore, because it's wall coverings or considered wraps. Wrapping the office furnishing with architectural films, and how you can customize spaces now. It really does bring out the whole visual communication piece. And so whether they're walls, windows, floors, right into the vehicles, what have you, those are all kind of like what we consider wraps now. It may not be the best terminology, but it's what we have. I mean, everything can look at that, whether it's wrapping whole buildings now, and that could be more textile geared things as well. So yeah, we're seeing a large growth in that area. We don't expect it to slow down. Obviously, things in general are slowing down a little bit, but we definitely see an uptick in that going back in the next year. People start figuring out how to get their message across and tell their story. Wraps in general of taking all that whole group, it really does allow people to do that. Business owners get that message out there and tell people what they're about, tell them they're open, tell them they're ready for business. So it's another big part of the industry. Obviously, it's definitely one of the faster growing. Yeah, thanks for sharing those stats. We can't always boil down the usability of the machine in the wrap space because we make technology, or several different technologies that can be used for that. We've got our UCJV line on the UV side. We've got our CJV, our JV line that are used. Our 3D GD, which I mentioned, is a 3D printer. So when we see people coming in, we see what they're trying to do with it, but we can't always see how much of that's actually being used for what would be considered a wrap or what's being used elsewhere. So that's really great stats, and it sounds like positive growth. So glad to see that's an area people can take advantage of in their businesses. So, well, if you don't mind holding on, we'll hold you for the Q&A at the end. Sure. And we're going to cut to a commercial here real quick. And when we come back, we will have one of our other guests from Siser.
Yes, we're going to have Joe on from Siser to talk a little bit about some machines he's worked with. Yeah.
Are y'all going to prepare? Awesome. Are y'all going to prepare people for how awesome his hair is? Are y'all preparing people for that?
There will be a disclaimer.
Yes. Thank you guys. For that.
All right, we're back.
All right.
So we've got Joe Piazza from Siser, North America. Joe, how are you today?
How's it going? I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks for joining us
Great.
today.
Absolutely. Thank
Yeah.
you to everyone at Mamaki for putting this on. We're very, very honored to be a part of, the second one of these and to do something collaborative with Mamaki. We've been waiting forever to do this.
Yeah, well, thanks for taking our invitation and participating. So.
First of many,
Absolutely.
hopefully. First of many.
Wait,
First
first
of many.
off, how's my hair doing? Is it good? Am I
Perfect.
good? Okay.
A little
Perfect.
underwhelmed. Could be better.
Perfect. So I think before we kind of get started with you, we're going to continue the conversation from our previous guest. We had Craig Campbell from ISA on, and we've been talking about the textiles and the industry, and we've talked. We had a pretty good conversation about where they see things from the Sign Association. But one of the things that came up in that discussion, and one of the kind of the hot topics right now, is the increase in demand for online shopping and the amount of pop-up stores. And I think you guys play a critical role in that. So we want to talk to you about that. But before we do that, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and about Siser and what you guys do?
Okay. Well, I'm Joe. I have been roughly about 14 years in the textile industry. I've been all facets of this industry, from large format printing to DTG to heat transfer vinyl to decal, all that fun stuff. I've been with Siser for just about 6.5 years, and it's been awesome. I kind of run the social media. I do a ton of the video tutorials. I do graphic design, all sorts of stuff. But Siser as a company, we are, just a quick backstory, we're an Italian company. I know, well, lesson number one for those that don't know how to say our name correctly. Yes, it is Siser. It is one of those Brangelina, like two names blended together. So that's why SI and SER are two separate names. So we're an Italian manufacturer, which has been around since about 1970. And I am part of the North America branch, which has been around since about 2008. And so it's been up and coming for a long time. We've been primarily in sports, decoration, names and numbers on jerseys, that kind of thing. But really in the last 10 years is when we've really seen a lot of growth in the main demographic or the main audience that we cater to. And it's just continued to grow, as you guys have all seen, as the whole industry really has.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so I guess, you guys have seen an increase in garment decoration over the past 10 years. How about since the pandemic began? We've been talking about the increase in demand for like Etsy shops and all that. Have you guys seen an increase or decrease of activity on your end since this started?
Yeah, and Michael, it's almost taboo to say it, because I know as a whole, as the globe, everybody has kind of gone through some rough times. And I guess there's kind of a light to the end of the tunnel, I'd say, because of this, because here at Siser, we've actually grown. And the way I look at it has been because of, I guess, the turmoil of what's going on right now. People have used that to their advantage to start up a side business or do something from their own home to supplement some income they may have lost, or while they've been stay at home, they've had more time to learn some of these craft things that they wanted to always try out. And so in the span of this pandemic thus far, we've actually grown as a company. And as you guys have talked about, and that's really what we're here to talk about, is customizing textiles. But from head to toe is something that you can customize something. It doesn't, and I know you mentioned briefly in the earlier part of, I think a lot of people just think shirts, but I mean, in this time, we're going all the way up to customizing face masks. And this is an example right here of a customized face mask with one of our heat transfer vinyls applied onto it, which has become its own business. So a lot of people have kind of taken that and used that as a way to create their business, start their Etsy store, and really start snowballing from there.
Oh, excellent.
I know we are actually trying to catch up to you guys, and the with the videos you've been putting out. You've been doing this a lot longer than we have. So you're more accustomed to like getting this information out online. I know it doesn't compare to trade shows. I know it doesn't compare to being in person, but what's some of the information you've been trying to get out there online recently?
Online recently, I what we do here at Siser, again, we're just a manufacturer, so we don't really sell direct. So our main focus has always been about education. It's always been about inspiration. It's always been about something positive to just kind of keep your mind off of what's going on. So it's kind of a plethora of different things, but mainly the educational side was always at the forefront for us. And it's always been my objective in the narrative of every one of my videos I've ever done. Anything we ever put out, from like our videos to the blog posts to even our social media posts, have always been about trying to spark something creative, inspiration, and to show you, no matter how intimidating this world may seem, this industry may seem to some people, is there's always a way to get your foot in the door on it. And I got to just boast about our company is it's been such a way for people to open their eyes and kind of subside that fear of, this is overwhelming. I don't know where to begin. It's like, you can start here and get a taste of it and then go from there. And I think it's opened a lot of doors for people. And so that's basically been what we've been trying to do from the inception to even where we are today, just even that much more, because we're all stuck in the office. Us that go to trade shows, like myself and some of my colleagues, like we're getting antsy. We want to get back on the road. We miss the face-to-face. We miss teaching in front of people. We miss doing the things we enjoy doing, but we have to acclimate. We have to, assimilate to these new ways.
Yeah, talking about the ease of like getting into this industry. I think working with Siser products was one of the gateways I had into textiles, specifically the eco-solvent inks and using the heat transfer vinyls. That's how I learned to work with the textile printers, because I didn't know anything about working with textiles. I think you had a better start with working with textiles before you came here, right?
Yeah, I did. It's bittersweet. I came up from the screen printing side of the business, and screen printing certainly has its place, and this is certainly not to dispel any people that are looking to get into screen printing, but the digital side of things, the technology of print and cut devices, just in the past 15 years, has really made it very accessible to basically anybody that wants to get into this. And with a lot of the promotions that we've been running and the equipment and the ease of use, we've made it very easy for someone to adopt a digital print and cut device or a digital printer or a cutter separately if you want to, and get into something along these lines. And I know that we've been working with you all, and we talked a bit about it in our last episode about the ease of use. From your perspective, because we're obviously biased, right? We're talking about our equipment. From your perspective, the print and cut devices that you've interacted with from Mamaki, how easy has it been for you to leverage your materials and show people what you're trying to accomplish on your end?
Oh, it's been really easy. And as everybody watching, if you got to see that little clip before I came on, that was a quick video we whipped together. I have an example of the transfer that you saw right there, cut and masked, and then this is the finished good, just to show you. That's on the Mamaki CJV 150/75. So it's a print and cut machine. And this is what I always explain to people, because at Siser, we have a wide range of different heat transfer vinyls that go from, solid colors to printable heat transfer vinyls that require eco-solvent printers like the one you saw in that video. And so that machine is kind of the one and done to be able to utilize all the products that we have at Siser, whether it is just a cuttable, whether it is a printable. So the video that you saw, from the time it printed, cut, masked, heat applied, for me to do this transfer which again, as Michael had said, he comes from a screen printing industry. And for those that are screen printers, you see an image like this that has, I mean, it's got 9+ colors and gradients in it. And so for you to set up that many screens and to run that many jobs and all that, you're going to have minimums. You're going to have, you know, the gradients might be difficult to capture. So for me to do all of that to get this transfer onto the garment finished from start to end only took about 8 minutes. So
That's amazing.
And that's the beautiful part about this because now you have a garment that has all these colors on it. There's no minimums. And the other thing, people, I think, that have been in this industry for a long time and may have had a misconception of how vinyl felt and how it was. It may have had that heavier feel, that thick, you know, chunky feel that some people that are screen printers or deal with just ink alone may feel heavy to them. But we've come a long way. And this product right here that I have on the garment that I show is only 45 microns. So it's extremely thin, which is way thinner than 9+ layers of ink would be laying on a garment anyways. So to be able to do that and have no minimums, it's really incredible. But with that, the Mamaki machine being both print and cut, I am a little bit biased to that situation because I don't like touching my material more than once. So I'm more of the fan of set it and forget it kind of thing. So I put my material on it, the printer prints it, brings it back up, does the cutting for me. Then, I mean, that mixed with the ease of use in the RIP software. So the Rasterlink software itself was very, very user friendly. I have a little bit of a bias because I have a sort of a background with large format printing, but for most of the people in my office right now that all had a crash course tutorial on it, everybody was using it by the end of the same day.
Wow. Oh.
And it can be a little hard to explain without looking at it. You have, what machines do you have over in your office? And one of the application specialists sent one of their shirts that they made while we have been talking. This was made in front of us right now.
We call it an audible here, right?
Oh yeah. So this is made on like the CJV, I think. Yeah. So this was print cut in the same job. They made these shirts in the same file as the images they made for tote bags and I think another application. You can build up different applications in the same file all together. Yeah. It really cuts down on speed. How do you factor in speed and cutting down speed for production when working with our products?
Well, I guess it depends on which product of ours you're using on the machine. So, I guess it's going to be, well, say your image has, maybe 2 colors in it. Are you going to set up your print and cut machine and print on a Siser print and cut heat transfer vinyl? Or are you going to just get 2 colors of Siser Easy Weed and then go to the Mamaki just regular vinyl cutter and cut those out? If you have an image that might have 5 colors, that's when you might want to consider going to the print and cut. That's going to be faster because you're going to have, the print will be quicker than cutting out 5 colors, weeding it, and then applying them. But it's really kind of, that's a very tough answer to give you because it's also up to the end user or maybe their customer. Because for someone like me, that is kind of like a plain person that is like, I like the flat colors, the matte finish, that kind of stuff. Right. That might be the way to go with the print and cut. But some people might want to add that extra value with some of our other heat transfer vinyls, such as our glitter, our holographic, things that you'll never be able to achieve with any kind of form of printing that you need to cut on the vinyl. But that is kind of where you need to decide. Then I just need to go right to the printer or right to the vinyl cutter, cut it, weed it, and heat apply it.
Well, if you're using like a CJV, for example, you can use it as a print and cut, or just a standalone cutter if you want to. So you could leverage all of those different technologies. And if you just want a standalone cutter to start with your material, that's the colored material, then we've got our entire line of CG cutters, which allows you, and we've got anything from a 24-inch all the way up to a 64-inch cutter.
And the speed on the CG cutter is miles above any of the other cutters we have. It's one of the main questions I get from people who are already on the production side looking to get one of our printers. They already have their products. They're always trying to figure out, okay, this thing that we print constantly, we're trying to figure out a way to boost the speed. Right. So thank you for trying to answer that the best you can, because that is, it's hard to try and give people, it is hard to try and give that information without talking one-on-one with people. So we really do like to direct people to different websites and the different material that both of our companies, or the bunch of the resources both of our companies give out online. How many different types of materials do you guys? Great question.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't know I was going to be tested today. So we have, I believe it's 15 different lines of regular cuttable products. And then with each one of those lines, we have a wide variety of different color options. Those are ones that you set up just on your regular vinyl cutter. You cut it out. You're not printing on them. Then we have about 7 different styles of print and cut heat transfer vinyls, this is an example of what you saw in the video, where you can print on them, cut them out, mask them, and then heat apply them. And then we also have another line too that is not for necessarily textile decoration, but it's more decal vinyl. So it's called Easy PSV. And then within there, it's more pressure sensitive vinyl. So anything that you want to, stick on something, we have that line as well. And in there, we have 6 different types, and each one has a different amount of color. So we have a wide variety, and I'm going to go ahead and use this as a platform to plug real fast. For those that don't know and do follow Siser products, we do have an awesome app you can download on your phone. And if you go to the Google Play or App Store, you can look up Siser HTV, and it's a free app. And in that app, we have all the products that we carry or we manufacture here, along with application instructions, heat application instructions, our videos, our blogs, all sorts of stuff. It's a free tool, another platform for us to help you out as much as we can.
Yeah, and if I can jump in there, when you're looking at that and deciding on what material that Siser offers that you might be interested in, you can also go to our selector tool on our website, and you can answer a few questions, and it'll narrow it down. And I want to touch on this a little, because this is probably one of the things that people get misconceptions about when it comes to garment decoration at the level we're at. The product that we're talking about, the CJV or the JV products or the CG products, if you're talking print cut, the differences between those really is that you can produce on your product, but it also, because it's a solvent or an eco-solvent ink set, you can also broaden your range of offerings. So if you're starting an Etsy store or an online store, whatever, you can offer decals, stickers. You can do some small graphics like magnets, or even some small wrap work, depending on the size of the machine you get. And you can do the stuff with the Siser materials, at the same time. So you can really offer a broad range of different things, from wearables to magnets, for example. So that's really exciting. There was a product that I saw, though, that speaks to our textile customers specifically, and I'd like to ask you about it. So we get a lot of questions from our sublimation customers that have, let's say they're doing sportswear and apparel for a team, and the soccer moms want a T-shirt made, and they don't want to send their customers somewhere else. You guys make a material that can be dye subbed, but also applied to a natural fiber like a cotton, like a regular T-shirt. What material is that?
So that is one of our game changer products that we came out with about 2 years ago, and that is called EasySubli. Just a quick backstory on that real fast is that was kind of a happy accident sort of thing, where I did an experiment across the board on all our other cuttable products to see what we could sublimate on, because the big issue and what we'd hear, and I'm sure for those that use sublimation probably always asked, why does it always have to be white polyester? Or can I, is there a way I can use sublimation on a dark cotton, something like that? So I experimented across the board at the high heat of sublimation and The only product that was able to withstand here at Siser was actually our glitter. And this is an example, and it might be hard to see it on camera, but this is our white glitter on a tote bag, which I know that was mentioned a couple of times, but this is a cotton tote bag, black, and that is all sublimated. All the colors on that is sublimated on a white glitter. So I made a video on our YouTube channel, another plug, Siser North America, and it was about 5 years ago. And once I did that, it kind of went a little viral, and a lot of people were asking us, well, do you have anything that isn't glitter? And that kind of became the thing. So again, our products are made over in Italy, so it was a lot of arduous process back and forth to try to nail down something that was going to be flat white, smooth, and could withstand being print on with sublimation inks. So fast forward about 4 or 5 years after that, then we came out with the EasySubli. So this is an example of it on 100% cotton black shirt, multicolor. This is a heat transfer vinyl that was printed on directly with sublimation inks. And that will allow you, for those that have a sublimation printer, to be able to expand your own business right now. So you're not just restricted to white polyester. Now you have the capacity to decorate in a form of print and cut on any kind of garment. And what's really cool about this product too is it's a low heat application. So you're not pressing really high at 400 degrees for 60 seconds like normal sublimation. You're actually going to press this for about 315 degrees for 15 seconds. So it's a low heat application too.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think, and that comes up a lot in the sublimation discussion. We've got a broad range of products from our TS30 to our TS55 to our TS300 series. And when our customers look at that, we do get that question, can I do a poly blend or can I do a T-shirt? And generally the answer is no. But with this material that you guys have really revolutionized the gap in that market and created an opportunity for us to explain to our customers that might have one of the printers or looking to get into a printer. Yeah, you can do those mouse pads, you can do those polyester-based goods. And by the way, with this material, you can also do tote bags, you can do T-shirts, anything. So thank you guys for really leading that discussion there. It's been great to be able to answer. Yes, you can if you're talking to a solvent customer or a sublimation customer. So fantastic materials. We're going to keep you on. For those of you that have followed us through this discussion, thanks for sticking with us. Like us, subscribe, follow us. Go to our website, check out the resources page that we have for all the equipment that we've mentioned in this discussion. And please go check out the Siser North America feeds online, their website, download their app. It's going to be a game changer for you, especially if you're looking to diversify or get a new business going. Right. And we're really excited. So if you don't mind, we'll have you hang on because we're going to do some Q&A. And for those of you that are still with us, put your questions in the chat window. We're going to be answering those live at the end of this broadcast. But before we do that.
Yes, right now we've stressed this whole episode that Textiles is one of the most complete packages of marketing that we provide. It's the most comprehensive of technologies that we provide from start to finish, pre-production, post-production. You can start to finish with us. Right. So with that accessibility, we really attract a lot of different artists, a lot of different creatives who like to expand on the tools that we give them. Right now, we're going to go over to Victoria Harris, who has done an interview with Zen Industries. She talked to one of the people over at Zen Industries to figure out some of the new creative elements that they've been working on.
Yep.
So we're going to shoot over to an interview with them, and we'll be back later.
Thank you, Mike. I'm here at Zen Industries. I'm here with Alex Vergas, the owner of Zen Industries. Thank you for having us here today.
Thank you.
Could you share a little bit more information on the types of services and products that Zen Industries produces with Mamaki's technologies?
Yeah, Zen Industries is a creative company that helps different people, businesses, brands from small to large, do development, product development, from creative to design and to executing different products.
So you guys have a full in-house cut and sew facility in addition to printing and finishing and design development.
Correct.
Well.
We have 2 different facilities, one located in Southgate for cut and sew, and this main one here is for sublimation.
Okay, so large production business model.
Correct.
Absolutely. So Zen Industries has the capability to provide designers as well as artists and like online e-commerce businesses the capability to print, from short run, 10 to 20 pieces up to 100. Would you say that you also spend a lot of time doing the design artwork, printing and finishing, and then cut and sew?
Correct. So
Okay.
a lot of it starts off with somebody coming up with an idea, and they don't know how to translate it. So we actually take their ideas, their chicken scratches, and start, coming up with different ideas and giving them, first sketch, second sketch, third sketch, and then from there, an idea starts to grow,
Absolutely.
And then from there, we will make, small little a sample or 2 for them to approve. And then from there, it goes on, okay, let's start approving colors. Let's start knocking out, what this design is going to, be.
Yeah. Do you make suggestions on that for the product development side? As in, you mentioned that you have a great couple artist friends that you do work for. Do you help them develop their designs into specific products or lines?
Yeah. So what happens when they send me their art? Their art is not typically made into a repeat pattern or anything like that. So what we do is we'll break it down for them, and with their permission, we're able to take their artwork and separate it and make it into a repeat pattern or just a pattern that we see fit that's going to fit onto the garment.
Yeah, or an engineered piece.
Correct.
Absolutely. Would you say for a lot of customers that, maybe they're just looking to have, a couple small product line to start out, what do they usually come to you like asking for? Like what types of questions or demand do you see from them?
It probably stems out like, we want to create a brand. And so I'll say, okay, well, anybody can create a brand, but what do you want to do? So I'll break it down step by step, what it takes to build that brand, and it's not rocket science,
Yeah.
but if you don't follow the steps, you're going to crash. So I kind of like, hold them by the hand, step by step.
Absolutely.
And I help them with fabric suppliers. I help them with, design, from A to Z.
Yeah, that's really great for a new brand trying to emerge into the market. Do you have any limitations like of minimums for ordering? Do you have like they have to order 30 or 100 to start out with you working?
Yeah, in the beginning, we typically just say it's like 36 to 72 pieces per style.
So
And
very low minimums.
Very low
Yeah,
minimums,
absolutely.
correctly. Yeah, so this machine that's the capabilities of this machine where you're able to run that 1 piece or 100 pieces or 1,000 pieces,
Absolutely.
and they're able to, hey, I have 5 designs, okay, hold on real quick. Let's set it up where we print these 5 designs, and we'll be right back, and we're gonna press it for you, and we come back with a piece, and they're able to see size, color, and composition.
Yeah, and typically, are they very impressed by the color and the detail of the Mamaki technology?
Absolutely, the vibrancy.
Especially, yeah.
Exactly, the vibrancy of the colors that come out of this machine are intense,
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just they're very poppy, so.
And you find it's very stable production I know you've mentioned that you do the short to larger production runs, but you find that it's very stable for the transition between the 2 different business models?
Well, yeah, but one thing I was going to say is like when you're doing color matching, you have this machine will print, one day this color, and then you come back 6 months later, and they oh, hey, I have that design. You know what? Let's print it out again, and the color comes out pretty much exact.
Yeah, and that's very important and desirable, especially in the fashion industry.
Correct.
Yes. How did you get into digital printing, and what would you say were the first types of products that you began creating to grow business?
So I got into digital printing probably, let's say about 15 years ago, working at a screen printer. And from there, things started getting into digital printing on fabrics and different products, from board shorts to towels to, roll-to-roll heat press, fabrics.
Very good. So we see that you have a TS300 dye sublimation printer, and then you've also adapted the TS55 medium to larger production model. How long did it take Xen Industries to invest in new technology, and what would you say are the contributing factors to that growth?
It took about a year after buying the TS300. Business started growing pretty fast, and with all the different creative things that we were doing as far as artwork, and people were excited, So from there, we ended up, needed a little bit faster, high volume, and that is why we got the TS55.
So what types of applications and markets have you guys really focused on during that year period before adapting the medium to larger production?
Right, so it varies. It goes from, let's say, a towel, to a handkerchief, to a board short, to swimwear, to like high-end, fashion wear from that goes onto the runway from New York to LA to Miami.
Yeah, I saw a beautiful collection that you guys had on the Miami Fashion Week runway. It was very lovely. So now as we transition during these crazy times with the COVID-19 epidemic, how would you say that Zen Industries has been able to adapt their business through this?
Right, everybody shut down at that time as far, and we weren't making masks. We didn't want to make masks. We didn't even know about it. But we accidentally got into it just because I ordered a mask, online, and it never showed up. And from there, I was like, well, I have the machines and the sewing machines to make a mask. So I ended up making a mask for a friend, not for me, who's on the police force and in LAPD. And he ended up purchasing 15 pieces. And from 15 pieces, it turned into 60 to 200 to 1,000 to 2,000. I mean, we've done over 500,000 masks already.
Wow. It grew very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So have you guys diversified clientele in the mask making production? Is it more corporate, or are you doing more custom work for individual artists?
It still varies. It's kind of crazy,
Absolutely.
People that I would have never thought I would have met are coming out of the woodworks. I'm doing a lot of development. The masks have actually opened different customers that come to my way. I'm actually doing development on medical gowns now, and I've already done 20,000 pieces, and it's opened up other doors and avenues for me to be successful with using this machine.
Yeah, I definitely think this pandemic has, stemmed and developed different applications and products, from medical gowns to masks to gloves, all sorts of, really important applications to be produced to make people feel safe and comfortable.
Right.
Absolutely. If you could offer advice to a business or a person looking to invest in new technology during the current crisis, as well as in the future market once things normalize again, what would you say?
I'd say having one of these machines has definitely saved my business, because I'm able to create small runs to large runs, at a very quick and fast paced. And one example of that is, let's say last year when I was doing Miami Swim Week, we were not going to be going, because it was too short amount of time to do a lot of development for design, creating patterns and this and that. But we ended up creating a line of over 100 pieces within 5 days, printing it, cutting and sewing it, and showing up to the Miami Swim Week show.
It's very impressive to be able to do the on-demand quick production,
right,
and create a beautiful collection. Yeah, thank you. Let's take a look at some of these applications that you have here on the table. Are these the masks that you were creating?
Right. Now, so this mask, or these masks right here, are created from different artists that I work with around the world.
Very cool.
This guy is from Rick Lee Illustration. He actually he's pretty well known on Instagram, has over, let's say, 400,000 followers, But we do a lot of product development for him, and we've helped him actually scale his business. And he's doing very well now. He's doing all the print work on the towels and the blankets and the masks, and he just offers a lot of a variety of artwork that a lot of people love.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So he uses a lot of different art. He mainly focused on paper prints, but I convinced him to do some prints on fabric and different applications, such as T-shirts or like let's say masks.
And is this one of the garments you guys produced for?
So this garment right here is actually
Yeah.
for Mamaki. So this is going into this is going into your showroom.
Very good. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the lining in the hood.
So we pulled this off, and they needed it real quick. We did it in a couple days, So we printed the fabric, cut and sewed it, and sent it off. So it's sitting in your showroom.
Yeah, you can customize everything so quickly. Would you say a bigger part of your business is corporate development for like larger productions, or would you say that you do more custom short run productions for different like individual artists, or as in like scale of production?
Right. I think for like most of the artists, it's like smaller runs, from 30 to 100 pieces that we're able to execute really quick and ship out for them. But then we do have the larger customers, let's say like from Beach Bunny Swimwear or LNA Swim, that are looking to produce fabric runs of, let's say, 700 yards. So we'll print the 700 yards on this machine and be able to print in one day and do the whole heat, the roll-to-roll heat press in another day. So that's like 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I see that you have this beautiful designer artist print onto the transfer paper. Is this also by the artist?
Yeah, the artist Rick Lee. So this is actually going to be a larger banner that we made for him, but actually after this we're going to be translating about 1,000 blankets for him.
Wow. Yeah, very cool, very cool. Thank you so much for having us here today. It's been great to be here with you. I really look forward to the future of Zen Industries. So thank you so much for all your great time today.
Thank you for stopping by.
All right, back to you, Mike.
Awesome. Victoria, thank you so much for visiting. And Zen Industries, thank you so much for the exciting things that you guys are doing with the equipment. I think with the amount of talking that we've been doing about it, it was good to show one of the pieces of equipment in actual productivity. So that was great. For anyone that's looking to get into textile, or anyone that's interested in textile, whether you're a sign and graphics customer that's looking to do direct-to-garment decoration, or you're looking to get into productivity like Zen just showed us, or you're looking to do something different, you're looking to get into anything, home furnishings, whatever it is that you're trying to do, now's the best time to do it. We have such a large range of products and so much diversification in what you can do. And some of our products will give you the flexibility of doing more than one thing. You mentioned that earlier, right? So our TS 300P 1800 Mark II allows you to choose 2 different ink sets simultaneously. So historically, you had to choose an ink that was compatible with a specific type of material, whether it was a polyester or a cotton or a wool. But now with machines like that, you can load up 2 completely different ink sets simultaneously, and you can produce polyester the first half of the day, and you can produce reactive goods for the second half, or textile pigment, for example, if you're trying to go to like a natural fiber. So if that really plays really well into the fashion world. And Victoria, who is going to join us in just a few minutes for the Q&A, along with the other guests that we've had on today, has put on a series of different webinars that speaks to different portions of the market. So I would encourage you to go to our resources page. Also check us out on YouTube, follow, like, subscribe to us. Check those videos out. Those are very informative, and they give you some tips and some tricks, not only from the printing perspective, but we've also got some industry partners on the fabric side and also on the pattern side that can give you some ideas of how you can get different print and cut sew workflows put together. And we have the pre-machines. We didn't even really mention those earlier on. We've been talking so much about these different things. We've got the Rimslow series that allows you to pre-coat, wash, and it also allows you to finish any of your goods. So we've got a broad spectrum of products that you can leverage. And from the design side, we've got a lot of really great tools that you've mentioned, like Rasterlink and some of the other things that allow the designers to take advantage of the equipment.
Yes, the videos that you talked about before, that doesn't just include the stuff we talked about today. That includes the face masks that we've done. That includes wall covering. That includes floor graphics, not just things we've talked about with textile today. We really want to make it understood that these are simple applications. They seem very hard, but as long as you have a basic understanding of even if you don't have the basic understanding of our technology, we give you the training to at least do the things that we have done. So wallets, phone cases, whatever, tie clips, any information about applications that we have made, all of that is online. Please visit. We love hearing feedback from people who have used these application guides with their companies. So any products that you make, please take pictures, send them our way. We love hearing success stories about different things that other people have made, and that makes my job easier so I can get more information of different applications, new things that I can't even think of to do with our machines. We love seeing new innovations.
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely very invested in print and cut technology. I mean, this is what we do. This is what we're good at. And we really enjoy seeing how you're successful with our products and seeing your businesses grow and how you're able to support your families and everything else. And the print community is such a fantastic community. You know, we've got the Together We Print movement that we started to help out our print families out there. Check that out. There's a lot of different things that you can do to connect with us, connect with some of the resources that we provided. Certainly some of the people that we brought on to these webinars and these live events as well. We're all in this together, and we want you guys to be as successful as possible.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit before, or I talked a little bit before about my limited understanding about textiles when I was first coming into this company. One of the gateways that I had was the CJV 300. We now have the CJV 300 Plus. In the recent months, we are very excited about the technologies and the new things that you can make with that printer. We're going to switch over to a commercial really fast about some of the things that you can do with that printer. But after that, once we come back, we will have our Q&A portion. Everyone that you've seen on the live will come back, answer all of your questions, anything you want answered, send it into the chat. We have people scouring the chat looking right now for your questions. We will try to answer them all in a orderly manner. So stay tuned. And all right, welcome back. That was our CJV 300. We are almost ready to start the Q&A portion. We have everyone that was on the live here again. We have Victoria Harris. We have Joe from Siser. We have Craig from ISA. We also have Lisa Umrich. She is one of our employees. She's been looking through the chat right now. She will be feeding us all the questions. We'll throw to anyone who can answer them as we see fit. Lisa, are you there?
I am. Thank you.
Hey. Welcome.
Thank you. We have several questions, both from social media as well as the chat. I'm going to start with the question that we had early on in the chat window. We had somebody inquiring as to whether Spoonflower was using our technology.
I can jump in there. I don't have details of what Spoonflower uses, but certainly our technology would be something that they could utilize. It's certainly a very well-known source for textiles. The products that we create could be used in an environment very similar to that. So I can't speak specifically to what their technology is, but our technology will be able to give you those results if you're looking to get into that type of work.
That's great, Mike. The next question is for Victoria. The question is, what kind of different inks and coatings do you use to customize textiles?
Well, it really depends upon the application that you want to do. So the fiber type and what product you're producing. For instance, Mamaki provides reactive inks for printing on, natural fibers such as cotton, linen, bamboo. It also can print like silk and nylon, wool. But then also we have acid inks, which you would print on wool, silks, nylons, as well as pigment inks that really you can print on any fiber type, but you don't have to use a coating if you're printing on natural fibers, and it's recommended to coat the textile if you're going to print on blends or silk or nylon, etc. For coatings, we can make recommendations for coating types and chemicals that you would be that are in the market to coat your textiles and then print. But we do, basically, we have a very wide range of textile inks to choose from for every type of fabric type.
Oh, thank you, Victoria. Joe, the next question is, can heat transfer vinyl be used on any fabric?
Can heat transfer vinyl be used on any fabric? Basically, our rule of thumb is anything you can apply heat to. That's kind of where you have to be cautious. If you can apply heat to it, then you can absolutely use heat transfer vinyl on it, with the exception of anything that's like flame retardant, like that has a coating that is made to resist certain things. So we have had people that asked about a fireman's jacket, and that's one where those kind of projects might be a little questionable, but we kind of stick within cotton, poly, any blends, nylons. The nylons, you also want to be cautious because some of those might have a coating on them as well. So it's all about doing your due diligence. And then whether you're applying with a heat press or whether you're applying with a home iron, you can apply Siser heat transfer vinyls.
Okay, that makes sense. The example of the shirt that you showed us earlier, what did you use for that? What products did you use, and what printer did you use?
Which shirt? Was it this shirt?
That shirt.
Yep. So this was the shirt we showed in the clip. The heat transfer vinyl I used here, which is one of our print and cut, which was compatible with the Mamaki CJV 150/75, which we have in the office here, which is eco-solvent inks. And that's what you need to use. Either eco-solvent or solvent inks are compatible with our print and cut heat transfer vinyls. This is one of the 7 different kinds of print and cut. This is one of my personal favorites. This is called Color Print Soft Opaque. It's our softest, thinnest, opaque print and cut product that can go on, and I know it's a bad example because I'm using it on a white shirt, but it can go on any color shirt, and it's very thin. And as I had mentioned in my portion was that with this many colors, like what I have in this one transfer, is almost 9+ colors plus gradients. And for that all to lay onto a vinyl that's only 45 microns, very thin, soft, and it's also got a matte finish. Another thing to remember for those that are kind of questioning whether they want a flashier finish that might have a semi-gloss finish to it, or if they want that matte finish, which will give them that like screen print, sometimes sublimated effect. So that's, yep.
Right. So I noticed on your website that y'all have a new product, a glitter product.
Yeah. So we just launched in our cuttable side, the one where it's just standard cut it on a vinyl cutter and that's it. we have, for those that are watching that may have been familiar with our other stuff, we have the normal glitter heat transfer vinyls like this that have that kind of sandpaper glitter effect, which is what people like. But lately, a lot of people have been asking about a smooth glitter that might be layerable, might be soft to the hand. So we just recently launched in the last couple weeks this product called Sparkle. So it's a glitter heat transfer vinyl, which is, I have 10 colors on this one shirt. And
Wow.
it's a glitter heat transfer vinyl that actually has the glitter flakes embedded into the product. So it's very thin, it's soft, it kind of has a little bit of that silicone feel to it. And the benefit of this line too is you can actually layer directly on top of one another. So it's been a huge hit in the last couple weeks.
Beautiful. Mike, there is a question about what dye sublimation inks that Mamaki offers.
Yeah, we have a broad range of dye sublimation inks. We really like to look at the sublimation inks specific to the architecture of the machine and the intended output. So if we're going to be going to a transfer process, for example, on paper versus a direct to fabric, we develop the chemistry so that it works really efficiently with either of those discussions. Currently in our lineup, we have, I'd have to count in the top of my head here, but I'd say we have probably close to about 8 or 9 different sublimation formulas that work within our architecture. And they go down from our TS30 line, which would be more or less our entry level, like our SB54 inks, all the way up to our Tiger series, which would be our ML SB inks, which give us the high speed. So as you can imagine, the faster you get, the thinner the ink needs to be in order to get out of those print heads quicker. So we have to customize those formulas. And that's really one of the great things about the range. So a lot of the sublimation customers try to do kind of a one-size-fits-all approach where they use one ink for whatever architecture, but we know from our experience that doesn't work. So when you look at our website and you check out our resources pages, that's why you see so many different sublimation inks that are being offered. It's not because we keep changing the formula as things progress per se on a particular machine, but as we grow our speed or as different needs approach us from the market, we develop the ink to work on that particular printer. And some printers offer multiple different versions. You know, if you're doing a direct to fabric and a transfer, you can load those sometimes simultaneously. So we have a pretty broad range of inks.
It's a great segue to the next question, which is which printer is best for dye sublimation?
I might actually have Victoria answer that one. I have my biases, but she's actually our textile expert. Right. So Victoria, I'm going to punt this one to you. And what do you think?
Well, I would say back to not to touch on it again, but it really depends on what you want to do, like your production model and what you're creating. Because if you want like great versatility, it would be ideal to go with the TX300 Mark II, where you could run dye sublimation paper for transferring on polyesters, but then also you could run fabric where you're going to be printing directly onto a polyester, where you'd get that really good ink penetration through the textile when you're printing direct to fabric. So if that was your business model, I think that would be best suited. If you're looking for more versatility in your speed and production, where you can customize your workflow, I would say the TS55 would be a really ideal model, because you're able to easily go from like smaller production to larger high production by utilizing the options with the machine, such as the mini jumbo roll unit and the 10-liter bulk ink system. So really, we have all solutions that can adapt to your business model. It just really depends on how you want to grow your business. So
yeah, awesome. And if I might add, as you're exploring those different options, reach out to us. You know, we have a whole textile lab set up in our Los Angeles facility, which Victoria runs for us graciously, and she's always in the fray, so she always knows exactly the right solution based on what you're trying to do. So interface with us as much as possible at that level, and we'll try and answer your questions as you grow out or look to expand your business.
Thank you, Mike. Lewis, from a graphic design perspective, how steep is the learning curve learning how to use Mamaki equipment?
Not at all. It's very easy. It's very simple. I think within a week of working here without knowing anything about rastering, fine cut, or ever having worked on a Mamaki printer before, I was able to learn how to make my own file with Illustrator, print my own file, build up to 5 layers on one application myself. So it's very simple, including the guides that we have online for our software, not just the applications guides that we have the manuals, we have a lot of process books with information on how to make files with our rationing tools. Those are our application. Those are our tools that we have embedded in Illustrator, Corel Draw, that help transfer your art files from whatever design software you're working on to our RIP software, whether you're using Fine Cut or Rasterlink, either one. So yeah, the learning curve is very simple.
That's good to know. Yeah. So the next question is, it's going to be a question that's combined with something from the chat window. We have a question in the chat window about UV printing for vehicles, for vehicle wraps specifically. And Lewis, I know that you and I have been doing some testing, internally. Do you want to talk to some of the testing that we've done with UV printing and laminates? And then maybe we can join Craig and Mike into the conversation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the testing we've been doing is for our laminator that we have ourselves. It is a heat assist laminate. We use the heat assist laminate to reduce silvering. A lot of the tests we've been doing were to reduce the silvering effect that you get from the air pockets that you have when you're laminating different wraps, specifically car wraps. You want to limit that effect before you apply it to a vehicle or to a surface. We don't want to limit it just to car vehicles, but right. Yeah. We've seen a lot of growth working with the UV inks. Specifically, we've tested with the LUS 200 inks on the UCJV for car wraps. For different shows, we've done the same process on our CJV and on the JV with solvent inks. But we have gotten the same effect with different products, with different product lines on the UCJV. So you can use UV inks to get the same effect of the same colors, the same colors after you laminate it on our UV inks as solvent.
Yeah, and if I can jump in there, a lot of the industry has been so conditioned that if you're going to do vehicle graphics, you're going to use solvent ink or latex ink. And we know that there are two totally different ends of the spectrum, right? Solvent has got your most outdoor durability, your most petrochemical resistance, and then latex is more susceptible to fading and wash off with chemical, like if you're going to clean. So lamination plays a role when you get to vehicles because you're going to wash the car and everything else. But historically, people have only thought in those two camps, and we introduced the UCJV a couple of years ago, and you can do vehicle graphics with it. And it's been an interesting discussion point because people are so conditioned one way or the other. They don't realize that UV curable inks, specific to our platform, I'll speak, can do vehicle graphics very efficiently. The LUS 200 is designed specifically for that. Even if you're a 3M house, you can utilize like the MCS warranty on that. The lamination has been the biggest portion of that discussion because UV ink sits on the surface of the material, so it creates, as Lewis mentioned, those peaks and valleys. So you want to find a laminate, which we can do some recommendations on that, that has not only the stretchability that the ink needs in order to keep going, but it also has to have a soft enough adhesive so that the adhesive bonds into those peaks and valleys efficiently. And that silvering that you mentioned has been one of the hot topics in the industry. With the heat assist laminator and these films, you don't have to be in a lab environment to make it work, but there are some specifics that you need to understand in order to make it work properly. But we can help you navigate that, and you can absolutely do vehicle graphics with a solvent, a UV curable, or a latex technology, and you can laminate efficiently. And then I don't know, Craig, if you want to jump in and throw any of your perspective on that.
You're just bringing back old memories, especially for Lisa and I. So remember doing some of those tests a while back. But yeah, I think the important thing that you touched on, Michael, was the ability for people to be able to take existing equipment, especially kind of these days, right? Take existing equipment that's working in a variety of applications, and a customer walks in the door and says, "Hey, I need you to do my vehicle wrap," and for them to not be able to turn that business down right now is just super critical. So yeah, what a versatility they can get out of machines is key, and I don't see that. A lot of people that we've been talking to, members or non-members, are actually seeing their fleet businesses stay pretty steady and stay pretty busy, because without the in-person events and everything like that to get advertising out in front of people, whether it's a concert or what have you, they need those vehicles up and down the road, broadcasting a message. So that fleet business is still doing quite well, and I think you're going to see that continue with what is 70 vehicle wrap commands something around 70,000 impressions a day on average, or I believe it's 70 to 150,000 or something like that. But anyway. It's one of the most economical forms of advertising, so I don't see that going away. We definitely see it just continuing to grow, and like I said, using that existing equipment is key for people's pocketbooks right now.
Yeah, and some of us, I'll speak for myself here, I've been in the industry for a while. Back when solvent first hit the market, you really didn't have a lot of pressure sensitive laminates. You had a lot of heat set laminates, and there was compatibility issues back then because the heat that was required to activate the glues and everything else weren't necessarily conducive for the vinyl that you were printing on. So there was a time of those early days where there was a limited amount of materials, and I think we're in that same space now with the UV curable. It's only going to get better as time progresses, as material manufacturers get those adhesives soft, they get those adhesives dialed in to bond to the UV inks. We're going to continue to see those materials become more and more available to the market. And to your point, people that are doing fleet graphics, I mean, UV curable gives you a quick turnaround. You get a transit bus that comes in, you can print it, laminate it, and stick it, sometimes all in the same day. You don't have any outgassing to worry about.
Smell, you don't have to worry about working in like a confined space. Right. You can work in a more confined space. It's still it is still a wide format printer, but still it cuts down on a lot of time, especially because it is a print, the UCJV in particular, because of their print and cut machine. You can take it off of the machine, laminate it, bring it back to the same machine. You don't have to worry about getting a separate cutter, and cut marks are already worked into the software. So yeah, it saves a lot of production time.
So hopefully that answered the question, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you. So to bring it back to customizing textiles now.
Fair enough.
Victoria, we do have a question. What are the business requirements to support the purchase of a Tiger, and do you have the supporting pieces to complete the workflow needed in workflow and hardware?
So the Tiger comes with, we have the software, the TX Link software. So that software gives you a couple extra options for textile design, as in like colorways and cataloging your prints in color. Also for the Tiger, if you were utilizing like the reactive inks for direct to fabric, we have the coating technology where you'd be able to coat the textile in a compact solution. You would print on the Tiger, and then you would do the post-process steaming and then washing. So we have the complete with these other compact solutions for pre and post treatment. You can get your whole technology solution from one provider, Mamaki, and be able to do the whole production in-house. So we offer all of those technologies for the complete solution.
Very good. Thank you, Victoria. We have 2 questions left. Craig, you were talking earlier about the various webinars and education that ISA provides. And you mentioned digital badges. Can you tell us more about what the benefits are of digital badges? And is there any charge for the classes? Is there a difference between a member being a member of ISA for as far as the price is concerned for the classes?
Yeah, excellent question. So benefits of the digital badge are obviously the education component of it. And there's a variety of ones that you can take. And if you take enough of the courses and assessments and go through a number of tracks, then you can get what we call a signed industry professional badge, which is kind of all encompassing. I mean, you spend a lot of time on our website and a lot of time going through the courses and understanding anything from production to project management to sales to design. A number of those courses in there, and the digital badge is really cool because it's when you hang it on your profile, if you click on it, you can actually see. So you can't replicate it. You can't just copy and paste and try to do that and put it on your resume, because it actually lists every single one of the courses and assessments you've taken and passed. So they're excellent for not only employee retention but employee onboarding. So if you got someone who's brand new to the industry, you just want them to understand what's going on. We've got a Signs 101 course they can go through and then continue to take those courses to increase their knowledge overall of what's going on in the industry and in that particular workplace. Another really good point of it is for students. People are still in, whether it's high school or technical schools or whatever they may be, college, whatever. If they go and take these classes, it really makes them, more employable, to be quite honest. We've got one course that's a welding course, and it walks you through. And I know you do a little bit of that, at least on the side. So you go through that and seen some of your work there. But so you go through those courses, and they kind of show to potential employers, hey, I've gone through these kind of protocols. I've gone through these trainings, and at least I have a good handle on where to get started within your business. So we actually have a larger number of students taking them in general. Some of the pre-courses, some of those early on ones. So it's really interesting. But yeah, it's a great program. We continue to add courses. Our next ones up are going to be focused on vehicle wrapping. So we're working, again, I think I mentioned this earlier, with Justin Pate and the Wrap Institute. We're going to get those up and going. We've already got one up there, but we're going to launch a few more before the end of the year. So those classes will continue to grow. So it's a great time to be involved with it. But to answer your other question about pricing, yeah, there's a difference in member pricing versus non-member. So we've got about 12 affiliates throughout the U.S. On a region by region basis. You can look at any of those affiliates on signs.org and check out how to get associated with membership and get signed on. And then once you get one of those memberships, you also get the overall ISA membership for free. And there's just a tremendous amount of resources on that website that it's hard to put a dollar value on, because there's so much there, and for the cost of what you get is really pretty spectacular.
Thanks. Joe, last question. The question is, are there any special procedures that you recommend before applying your products?
Special procedures? Well, like if it's regarding just the fabric, again, you just want to be a little bit more diligent on what types of fabric you're using, whether it has a coating on it, because some of them do. You can always do the water droplet test, is what we always recommend if you have a concern if it has a coating, and that's simply just drop a little water onto the surface. You'll see whether it beads or if it soaks in. If it beads, it has a coating. If it soaks in, it usually doesn't. That's only with those types of fabrics. For those that are just starting, maybe we have a couple in here that don't have a heat press. Another thing, again, I did kind of stress is that you can apply 90% of our products with a home iron. And if you are using a home iron for application, to just make sure that you are kind of gauging to the correct temperature and making sure it's getting to the correct temperature as well as pressure. Pressure is for sure a step that we deal with on the regular basis with our tech support, with people that call and may have dealt with one of their transfers peeling off in the wash or something like that. And 9 times out of 10, it ends up going back to lack of pressure and or inadequate temperature for the application. Other than that, there really isn't anything. Our first step we always recommend is to pre-press it for a few seconds, which takes out wrinkles and moisture that might be contained inside the garment. But other than that, there's minimal or no prep whatsoever.
Sounds like I need to get a heat press.
Yeah, I always recommend for those that are using a home iron, that's totally cool. But for me, to alleviate any stress, especially if you're going to make this a business, I always recommend using a heat press. That's going to give you that guarantee that it's sticking around for a long time. Pun intended.
Yeah, no, we're not in the heat press business, but last time I looked, heat presses are not really all that expensive.
Right.
So compared to everything, your startup costs, if you're getting a print and cut device like a CJV, and you're getting a heat press to go into this type of business, the heat press is probably the lowest cost of everything to get started. Is that your experience as well?
Oh, absolutely. The heat press I get it. We're all the online shoppers these days more than ever, but me in particular, I think my entire life, like I despise going in stores. So I'm go to the internet, buy from there, the cheapest thing you find on Amazon. I know it's a sad plug, but we all use it. We're all guilty. And then you look for the cheapest thing possible. But we all know in this industry, no matter what part of it you're in, you get what you pay for. And so I try to express that to people when they find the cheapest heat press that has no name attached to it. They don't know where they're buying it from. It has absolutely no warranty on it and absolutely no tech support. Then when they call us about failure with Siser products and we dial it down to say, hey, your heat press probably has a million cold spots on it, uneven pressure, and then it just turns into one of those. Like in this case, when it comes to equipment like print and cut, I can say, go to Mamaki. You have people there that will service you, explaining how to take care of your equipment. We're not professionals with equipment. We have to always preface that. So we like to partner with people like Mamaki that has the reputable tech team behind it, the tutorials, the things where these people, instead of getting excited, because they see what we do, right? They see that they can do this. They just want to jump right in. They don't want to educate about what it takes to get into that equipment, but somehow ends up being my fault. So that's where I'm like, instead, I'd rather say, hey, we're hanging out with Mamaki, that I use their machine. You can go to them and they'll educate about the printer I'm using, but I am not a professional with this printer. I can talk all day long about our products you're using, but these other things like the printer, the print and cut, as well as these heat presses, it's best to have it from a source that has a name attached to it, warranty, technical support. That's the best advice I can give you about anything.
Yeah, and if I can add, we're extremely humbled by the amount of partnerships that we have, like ISA and like Siser, and all the partners that have helped us with all the webinars, even prior to COVID, right, and all the things that we do. We are so integrated into print and cut technologies. You'd be surprised from our end how many questions we get, and how easy it is for us to say, oh, we can call Joe over at Siser, or call ISA, or here, go to this website and here's the resource you need. So thank you all for your efforts and everything that you're doing to help us, show everybody a way to be successful together.
Absolutely.
Mike, we have one more question that just came in.
Okay.
We have somebody asking about aqueous inks and for heat transfer to natural fabrics.
Oh, aqueous inks. We haven't really dealt in the aqueous ink perspective, if you will, for the traditional aqueous ink, so like producing on paper goods. But if you look at like the EasySubli, I think the dye sublimation technology is an aqueous based. It's a liquid that starts with water. It's not like a solvent or UV curable. So there are paths to use an aqueous technology in some way, shape, or form. But a true aqueous ink, like a desktop printer, unless Siser has something that works with that. We don't have an ink that we would recommend for that workflow.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Mike, that is a sore topic. I know that's big in our industry. Is a lot of people want to use their desktop printers to utilize a Siser product, to utilize something that they can still get the print and cut effect at a very, very low cost. Unfortunately, we don't have anything. We're not necessarily planning to, only because, it's no offense to those that enjoy it, but for the things you get from Siser, we want these to be long-term. We want it to be, as soon as you put it on your garment, it's sticking around for 50 plus washes. And in all of our testing we've ever done with anything that has come from an inkjet printer or the aqueous inks or, small desktops are very, very temperamental, and they're very, maybe 1 or 2 washes, and then you start seeing the difference in them. And it may be good, but again, what we want is something, if you print it on our product, it's going to stick around and stay and give you that vibrant look for a long time. So unfortunately, we don't have anything that's right to your small desktop home printer.
If I may, and I think Victoria probably has some insight to this as well, the cost of printing on a desktop printer seems small because you're getting a very small amount of ink at a time. But if you actually look at the cost of producing something on a desktop printer versus a wide format printer like ours, there's a huge difference in price per piece. And Victoria, I know you've, in some of the webinars, you've really kind of honed in on this, like the ability of, when you get into production and scale, the ink sometimes almost pays for itself depending on the architecture. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, I would totally agree to that. When we're looking at like scaling for higher production, Mamaki has some really great offerings for bigger production. So we have optionals, like I mentioned earlier, of like a jumbo roll paper and a 10-liter bulk ink system, where if you're running that paper, the ink cost, you reduce your labor cost, but also the ink basically pays for itself with the optional units. So.
Yeah, and our equipment is scalable. So you could start with a piece of equipment that doesn't utilize a large capacity of ink, and you can graduate to it by adding either a Mamaki bulk ink system or any of the offerings that we have. So we have some scalable options within a particular printer, if you will, or if you're looking to just scale into a larger piece of equipment or a faster machine, we offer that as well. So I would say for our audience out there that's looking at doing like the direct-to-garment transfer or anything like that might be looking at an aqueous printer that's sitting on their desk in their home, consider the option when you're looking at starting a business. It's probably going to cost you a lot less, once you get started to produce than it would if you were trying to run it through a traditional desktop printer.
Great. Thank you, Mike. And that is the last of our questions.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take another quick break. We're not quite done yet. We have a few things, but before we go to our quick break, I think we would like to thank all of our guests on today. Joe, Craig, thank you so much for your time today. We know you guys are really busy. We appreciate the time and effort that you've put into this, and how much effort that you've put into making sure that we can get as much information in this. I know it's been 2 hours, but this time frame that we have together today. So thank you both. And Louis, certainly has enjoyed. I see the expression on his face when he comes in. He finds out something new that he's done with one of the materials or something in the signage space. So thank you there, Louis. I don't know if you have any additional thoughts there for the team.
No, I just thank everybody for coming on with us. Love working with you, and we expect to be working with you many times in the future. Don't turn off your phone. We might be calling you to do this again sometime. Next few episodes aren't set in stone, but we'll work on that.
Yeah, and if I may, Victoria is our textile guru here on the team. So I encourage you, again, go to the website, check out the resources page, check out the webinars that she's hosted. She is a wealth of information, and you will really find what you're looking for through her expertise and her abilities. And if you don't see it on one of the webinars, you can contact us and we'll get you in touch with the team. And Victoria will most likely be looped into that conversation at some point, because she is definitely our textile expert on the group. So We will come back in just a few moments. We do have a special announcement to remind all of our viewers to stick with us for just a few more minutes. But Joe, Craig, Victoria, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
And Louis,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're done with the Q&A section. So Lisa, thank you for emceeing it.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you for having me.
Okay,
Always a
stick with us
pleasure,
for
Lisa.
just a few more minutes, and we'll come back with another announcement. What a very informative day we've had today. A lot of information.
Indeed.
Yeah. So to the next one. So check out our events page. We do have another live event scheduled. Our next one, I think, is going to be focused on primarily our UV flatbed products, our IP space, industrial products. So if you're interested in the tie clips and some of the other decorative things that you can do, we'll have a whole another discussion as it pertains to that.
And next week, actually have a series of videos of tips and tricks from the application specialist and me,
Mhm.
and we go through a lot of other information on some of the other printers, some of the other applications that we've done, your ways to set up files, just simple, fast videos to help out a lot of you.
Yes, so definitely. So to wrap it up, thank you again, Louis, for all your effort here. We mentioned a promotion in our last event, and that promotion was for our followers on social media. So whether you're following that you are, depending on your platform, will be picked from our group of followers, and we will be giving away one of our 3D printers that we mentioned in our last broadcast. So our 3D FF222 is a special giveaway. So don't forget to like, subscribe, follow.
I think we had some audio issues. I want to reiterate, next week we have a few tips and tricks videos that we will be promoting on the 12th from a different set of application specialists, me, myself included. Just some informative videos on how to set up files, how to work with some of our printers, some easier ways to speed up production that we've seen working with our printers over the years. So come in next week. Love to see you guys again. Thanks everybody for giving us a chance on this episode.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with us, and we really appreciate everything you're doing. We're in this together, and we're really excited to have you all participate in all these different events. So thank you, our audience. We appreciate all that you're doing out there. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll get through this together. And if you're looking for a new business opportunity, check out our website, check out our industry partners, and let's get back to business.